Welcome back, and if it's your first time, welcome to No More Rent TV. I'm Kaitlin Endres, and you're here because you're a first-time home buyer. Okay, the topic today is how to keep your dream alive if you want to be a first-time home buyer in 2020. And the reason for this video is it's not the same to be a home buyer as it was even 2 months ago. So we have to redirect our plan and choose something that makes sense in the light of coronavirus. So welcome to 2020. And if you still want to be a first-time home buyer this year, you can. So I'm going to tell you today the number one thing to keep in mind while searching for a house. With so much uncertainty in 2020 because of the coronavirus, it's absolutely normal if you're having questions like, should I still buy a house and does it still make sense? But before you even get to that point of asking those questions, you have to keep in mind the number one thing to be doing, which is mind the reason that you wanted to buy a house in the first place. Your reasoning probably hasn't changed since coronavirus started. So I was just talking to a friend this morning actually, and she wants to buy a house. She's up in Oregon. And we were saying that buying a house doesn't happen overnight. It's when preparation and opportunity meet. And while you can't control the opportunity, you can definitely control the preparation. And so that's what I'm working on with my clients right now, is preparing for when the opportunity comes. Which, by the way, if we haven't met, I'm Kaitlin Endres, and I'm with Remax Direct and Endres Realty Group. I'm a realtor here in San Diego, in the greater San Diego area, and I specialize with working with first-time home buyers. So it is a thrill to meet you. Just like any goal that you've probably set your mind to, you realize that having a plan is probably the most important part. And that plan will take time. As things get tough, which they sometimes do when you're trying to buy a house, sometimes unexpected things will occur. You think that you want this house and then you don't, or conditions change. If you don't keep in mind the reason that you wanted to buy a house in the first place, then the entire goal, it's going to be really hard for you to make that happen, especially when you get discouraged, which is why the number one thing that you should be doing right now if you have dreams of becoming a homeowner in 2020 is to keep that in mind. Keep in mind why it is you wanted to buy a house. My guess is you added up how much you're paying in rent, or you're feeling like renting isn't giving you the stability that you're looking for, or you're seeing that people are cashing out on their own houses over time. Whatever your reason is, stick to that reason and remind yourself why you're getting into this journey for the first place. If you want to know about why I chose to become a homeowner, I'll just give it to you. I paid somebody $80,000 over a 2-year period in rent, and I didn't even know it was happening. That was the scariest part. I just paid my rent every month like no big deal, and after 2 years I added it up, and well, $3,200 a month times 2 years is about 80 grand. And the thought of in 2 years that I could have paid $80,000 on my own mortgage, but instead I paid it on someone else's, it changed something in my brain. And that's the whole reason that I'm doing this No More Rent TV, is because there are so many of us who are paying rent, and deep down inside we know that this isn't serving us. Buying a home will serve us, but we don't know where to begin. Does this sound like you? Realtors don't get paid until the transaction is done. Same with loan officers. So when I started looking for a house, like way before I even bought one, I felt really anxious about calling realtors, and I felt really anxious about getting pre-approved for a loan because I felt like I was trapped and stuck with those professionals just out of courtesy. So I wanted to wait until I was serious about home buying. But how do you get serious about home buying if you don't have the information you need to learn how to buy a home? So that's how this channel was developed, was you can sit on your couch like I'm doing right now, and you can learn all about tips and tricks how you'll be buying your first home without contacting a realtor, without getting pre-approved for a loan yet. You will need those people along the way, but if you just want to learn how it goes, where do you turn to? I hope that you'll consider me as the person that you turn to. So like I was saying, I was paying all this rent and I wasn't really getting that much, and I personally, what I needed was an ego check. I wanted to live in this fancy neighborhood. I thought that the area in which I could tell people I lived defined my level of fancy. And for a while it did. For a while it felt good. But as I just kept spending that money down and not really getting anything in return except for a few people that act impressed that I live there, it wasn't serving me anymore. So my ultimate reason that I wanted to buy a house was I wanted to get into something I could afford that would pay me back. But I couldn't do that until I set aside this little piece of my ego, which was, if I live in Del Mar, I'm fancy. I'm the same person now as when I lived there, and I don't feel any less fancy. In fact, I feel very fancy.
I feel very fancy writing the check to my mortgage knowing I get all that money back. How about that?
Now that I work as a full-time realtor in San Diego, I see the same struggles over and over, and so many people don't know how much they can qualify for. So if you don't want to reach out yet to a loan officer, it's only a Google away. My point is, COVID-19 doesn't have the power to change the reason that you wanted to buy a home. And while it makes absolute sense if you choose to wait and you feel more safe and secure waiting, I get that. I support that. Let's prepare in advance. The reason you want to buy a house hasn't changed. So stick to your guns on this and remind yourself why you want to buy. It's okay if you do want to purchase during COVID-19. I still have people who want to buy houses right now. There are still houses for sale. My point is, you got to do what's right for you. But what's definitely right for you is to invest some time in your education of how to buy a home. If you want more information on getting started, how to prepare the right way so that when the opportunity comes, you've got the preparation done, I hope you'll keep me in mind. Give me a like on this video if you felt connected with me, and if you want to subscribe, I'll be posting all sorts of new information all about how to buy a home, what to look for, loans, and if you want to comment below why you want to become a homeowner so that we can all support you as part of the No More Rent TV community.